Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am showing you how I fix my nail breaks. So on Instagram I had posted a photo of this first nail here, what it looks like now. I fixed it and I got literally over 100 messages about how I fixed my break. So I wanted to go ahead and make a video to show anybody who might have been curious as to what I personally do. Now, I did want to preface this by saying I am not a nail tech. I have zero training. Honestly, I barely know what I'm doing, but I have done this for a long time, a few years now, as to how I fix my nail breaks. So this is what works for me, and if there's something that you don't like or you don't agree with, that is your opinion and prerogative, but this is what works for me. This is also not a permanent fix for me. I swatch so much stuff that this patch will last me about 15 swatches, or if I'm just wearing the polish, it'll last me about a week before it breaks again. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I do is just take one of these buffing blocks and buff out the surface of my nail. I did just do this a few days ago when I had the break, so I'm just going to lightly do it, and I'm not going over my entire nail because I'm not putting acrylic over my entire nail. I'm just kind of doing the tip of it as where I would put the acrylic, because again, I'm not doing my entire nail. The next thing I'm going to use is a nail dehydrator. This one is from Super Chic Lacquer. They have a ton of different brands and everything. This is just the one that I found dehydrates my nails the best, and I do get the best results from it. And the reason I use a nail dehydrator is because the acrylic will stick much better to a dry nail as opposed to one that has just been oiled or something of that sort. So a few other things, I'm using this acrylic nail powder in the shade Pink from the brand No Lift Nails. I got this at Sally's a long time ago. And then, to go with that, I'm also using the acrylic nail liquid. And since this isn't my profession or anything like that, and it's just on the rare occasion I get a nail break, I'm using this Winning Nails Sable 6-round brush. It is the cheapest brush that they had at Sally's. I've had this one for a few years now also, and it works just fine. I think it was a total of like $9. And then I'm also using this little glass petri dish that I got from Sally's. I think these are also like maybe $1. So since I'm only doing one nail, I'm just going to pour the smallest amount of the nail liquid into the little petri dish. I'm actually not even sure what these things are called. So I'm pouring a little bit in there and then getting my powder ready. I am completely soaking my brush, and it does take a second of soaking to get it completely loose. I'm going to completely soak it and then dry it off a little bit on a paper towel. I really hate this camera. Only like one thing will be in focus at a time. So after that, I will go ahead and dip my brush again, wipe off any of the excess liquid, and then as far as the size of a ball that I get, it's just standardly, about there, and that'll cover the entire tip of my nail. So you do want to work relatively quickly with this, and I have obviously this really bad break over here, and then I also have a pretty minor break on this side, so I am going to take that ball and just put it all the way over here. And that was actually quite a big ball, but that's okay because I will file down any of that excess. So I am just trying to lay it as smoothly as possible, and you can use those little nail forms if you want to for something like this, but I can't justify spending $16 on a 500 pack of nail forms when I use them like maybe once a year, because 9 times out of 10 I'll just file the nail off and it's not that big of a deal to me. But otherwise, it's really easy to shape this acrylic. So now I do have to let that dry completely before I start my filing process. So I noticed a couple bald spots, so I added some more acrylic, which is fine because I'm going to file it down anyway. This is completely dry, and the way I've always tested that is if you can touch it and it clicks, you're good to go. So my file that I'm using is, surprise, from Sally Beauty. It's just this double-sided one. It's got the 100, 180. This side's a little bit rougher. This side's a little bit smoother for, you know, different grit levels. So I do tend to do the rougher side as far as like my initial file goes, and then I will use the smoother side and a buffing block for like the rest of it. The filing process is really tedious when you're doing everything by hand, since again I didn't invest in a Dremel because I again don't do this but maybe once a year, twice a year on these really bad nail breaks. So I'm going to show you kind of what I'm talking about, and then I will just kind of finish it off camera. So, you know, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and take the harder file side and just start filing down where, I mean, it's obvious that's not what I want my nail to look like. And then same goes for the top. This is such a, I've got a tripod leg right here where I'm trying to file. This is such a hard thing for me to film. I've never really been able to film myself filing my nails. But yeah, so I just kind of go until the nail looks natural, and then I will take the softer grit side and file down the top of the acrylic, making sure not to hit my actual nail bed, because I don't want my nails to be any thinner than they absolutely need to be. So I am going to keep filing, and I will be back. So I am pretty happy with the shape. I know it looks funny because you can tell where the acrylic obviously is, and the only thing that is unfortunate about not owning a Dremel when you're doing acrylics is that the underside, since I don't use forms, the undersides can be a little bit uneven. So what I do is I take a glass file and I will slowly file away at the misshapen pieces that are underneath here, but I have to look at it, which I can't see from this angle. So that's pretty much what I would do, is just kind of file it away like this, because the sides of these glass files from What's Up Nails are also files, so I can take these tiny little pieces and file it away. Okay, I am happy with the shape. I am happy with the underside. So my next step is to put a gel base on it, because if I paint over just straight acrylic, it will just peel off almost instantly. So the base coat that I'm using is from a brand called Sparkle & Co. And my curing lamp is from Jamberry. So I don't think that they are really in business anymore. So I can't suggest this particular one, but it is just a LED lamp. So just a nice thin coat of a gel base coat. And it's funny because in person the nail looks like it's a good shape, but on camera it looks like this side could come in some more for sure. So I am just going to cure this for a good 60 seconds and see where we're at. And this is one of those base coats that will stay sticky until it's wiped off with alcohol, so I did just saturate a cotton ball in alcohol off camera, and I'm going to wipe it away and call that a day. I do have a little bit more filing to do along the sides, make it look less like a duck bill, but overall I think he's looking pretty close to my other guys. Around the edges a little bit. BRB. Then the very last thing that I do is finish off with cuticle oil. This is actually from I Am Custom Color. I just had put it in one of my nail polish bottles, so it's always on hand. But that is the last thing I do. I did put regular base coat on these 3 nails, so it's not completely dry yet, so I am going to wait to oil those nails up. But other than that, we are done. Okay guys, so that is it. That is how I fix my really bad nail breaks. There are obviously imperfections and obviously not necessarily everybody's way of doing it, but that is just what works best for me whenever I have these really bad nail breaks. 99% of the time if I break a nail, I'm totally fine filing it down. I know some people have like real issues with that idea, but I don't mind short shorties and I don't mind long nails on myself. But since this one was all the way down here, this is where I went with that. As always, give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, and I will talk to you again next time. Bye.